thought I'd give a hand to painting rocks. There's quite a movement going on. A lot of people are painting rocks and they're leaving them places. It's very nice. I know people have left some at the Brockville General Hospital, and that's really nice. It's not something I've never done. I have done it. I used to teach children in the studio, and here's one of the little frogs that I did with the kids. And I'd say it's got to be 6 years ago. I don't teach out of the studio anymore. Retired from that. But anyway, this was a fun one, and we might try this sometime as well. But today I thought I would give a try to something I had been exploring, pouring. And I think that was in the fall mostly, and last year as well. I did a painting for a senator on Parliament Hill using this technique, and it turned out really nice. It's just a lot of fun to do pouring. So just to get you started on what you'd need, I know you won't be able to get this right now. I always had to go to the States. I live near Spencerville, which is near the border, near Prescott. So this is Floetrol. I always had to go to Lowe's in the States. I had trouble getting it in Canada. It's very popular for this. And I only have a small bottle right now, but I've had big bottles. You could also use white glue, and you would use water. And then your acrylic paint, and your paint can be any kind of paint. Let me just grab you can use just a deco type of paint, inexpensive. Shake it up a little bit before you mix it. So what you would mix is about, I'd say half this and half the glue to start, and then you start adding water till you get a consistency that is fairly liquid. And there are lots of videos on YouTube about mixing your paint, so I'm not going to go into that now. I have some pre-mixed. Most of mine also have silicone. I don't know where I've put that right now, but it's just I've just used treadmill silicone, and you'll see that in most videos as well. Here it is. It looks like this. It's for keeping a treadmill running smoothly, and it only takes a drop or two to add some sort of bubbling effects in your paint, and that's what makes it fun. So I've got gloves on, not to protect me from the acrylics, because mostly I use student grade acrylics, and there generally isn't any harmful chemicals in student acrylics. But this process is messy. So I've got a little rock here that's not the prettiest rock. I've had rocks that are quite pretty. I'm going to start by painting the base. Sorry, I stopped the video for a minute so I could turn on my lights. It seems to be a little dark in here, but hopefully you can see that it's a little bit porous, and it's an okay shape. So what I'm going to do is, it has a flat side, and I'm going to paint that bottom part because it'll be hard to cover with the poured paint with a white. When you're using acrylic paint, and I'm just using this Loft white, but any white will do, it doesn't matter, acrylic paint. Always dip your brush in water before you use acrylic paint, and get it right down to the metal. These are cheap brushes, but still you want them to last. And then away we go. So I'm just going to take some of this white, and I'm just going to cover the bottom for sure. In fact, maybe I'll paint this whole rock because of its porous nature, and it will probably make the colors a little brighter when I pour them on. Some acrylic paints are more transparent than others, and if they're quite opaque, then they'll cover just fine, but if they're not, so I'll just cover this whole rock with white paint and turn it over. I think these are the non-latex gloves I used to have in the studio for my students. So, and all right, so that's ready, and I'll just let that dry. Put my brush in water. Just going to prop the rock up so most of the surface is showing. Then with my pour, now I had been doing pouring, so I had a number of different colors already mixed, and so far I think I'm going to go with this, and I may add a little gold. Just a little thought about colors when you're doing acrylic pouring. I'm going to call these analogous colors. If you look on a color wheel, blues and greens are all cool colors, and they share the fact that most of their hue is made from using blue and then blues and yellows. So they don't tend to make muddy colors, so that's always a good idea. And I think my accent color for this is going to be the white. So if you're looking at online at YouTube videos about pouring, you'll know that most often if people are going to use silicone, they put it in their colors and they don't use it on the white, and that kind of forces the white to come through and through the other colors when you pour, and it makes the effects. Let's have fingers crossed and see how this is going to work. I'm going to take my lids off. I've kind of gently swished these around, and here I have a little cup saved from, actually I bought them specifically for this, so I wasn't making shooters with them, but that's what they are. And let's hope all these little things are open, and I'm just going to be squeezing a little color in. I don't need much because it's not a very big rock, but I'm going to just layer these colors in. And if you don't have squeezy bottles, that's fine. Just mix all your colors in little cups and do the same thing. So see if I can get a little bit of this. There's not a lot of green in here, so we'll see if I can encourage. There we go. A little bit of the green. It's a really nice color. I'll leave this one upside down so I can encourage a little bit more after. That color was made from this Liquitex Basics because it's really hard to make a bright green like this all by yourself. Very hard to do. So that's what I used there. So I'm just going to turn that one upside down and see if I can encourage more of that color down. And then you just continue to layer. I'll put some more of this beautiful turquoise color. Again, I believe I used an Artist Loft color for that. Those are, you get those at Michael's. And then a little more dark blue. And they can mix up in there a little bit. I'm going to add a little white again. For the first time here, a little bit of white. We don't want too much. And let's just see if I can get a little, actually I'm going to put some blue before I put the green. So I'll have some contrast. I'm getting a little bit of it in there. Alrighty, and I'm going to add a little white. So this is a lot of fun. It's fun for kids. Again, I do recommend if you, well, it's acrylic paint. You know, it comes off your hands, off your skin, fine, and it won't hurt you. But it does not come off clothing, and it's hard to get off surfaces. That's why I've got a piece of plastic here, and I've got my stone on a little paper plate. So let's just see here. I'm gonna say this is the bottom, and I'll probably have to touch that up because it's not quite dry. Although I do have my hair dryer here, so I can dry this. Put it down because it's hot. All right. enough. So this is my flatter side, so I'm going to put that down. And now I have to decide how am I going to pour this, because there are many different ways that you can't really do a flip cup the way I might do on some paintings that were probably done that way. Here's an example of a flip cup, and you get some pretty nice, hopefully the lighting's good enough in there, some pretty nice shapes and things going on. It's a heck of a lot of fun. And you can find little monsters and all sorts of googly things in there. It's a lot of fun. But another way of doing it is a little bit of a swirl. And I'm thinking that might be the way to do this one. So I'm holding my cup here. And actually I realize I'm right-handed. Well, I'll try this with my left hand and see how I do. Because otherwise my hand will be in the way. Learn something new. So I'm just swirling it. And you just kind of get what you get. A lot of it's going to slip off, but we're just kind of hoping that some of it will stay on. Gonna get back here in this little back section and over here. Now I'm not going to touch that rock just yet, but I think you can see there are some beautiful, beautiful things happening there. And I'll have to be very careful when I lift it off. I can't let everything dry because I'll have to peel away the excess paint. We'll see how I handle that. Okay, so that's my first one that I'm doing. I'm going to put it over here to dry a little bit before I gently lift it. Here are my finished rocks. I top coated them with a gloss varnish, and to get them to dry, I lifted them carefully with my fingers out of the puddle of wet paint that they were sitting in, and just put them on a clear piece of paper, actually one of my palette sheets, so it wouldn't stick, and each one, and I let the surfaces dry just naturally at the top, and then I would just turn them over and place them in a clean spot again and let the bottom dry as well. And now they're ready to go into a garden. So thanks.